Good morning to you, Steve.
Morning.
Morning to everyone. And a new day's coming, I believe, and I think that we're bringing it about. So
Yep,
again,
I agree. I agree.
so here we are. I'm Dr. Abraham Weizfeld, political scientist in Montreal, as we say here. And this is introducing as well Steve Struggle of the Black Panthers in the American Revolution scene. So here we go. Last week's video with Ahmad was 112 views on the two channels that it's been featured on. So
Nice.
I think that 112 hardcore, serious people can do whatever they want.
I agree.
This is what we're doing, and this is what we're making at the same time. I have some news to tell you, Steve. I've had to deal with the court here in Montreal
Right.
because I've been charged with criminal mischief for having written the words "and a free Palestine" on an empty space in small but capital letters on a poster for the Israel Day Parade. Okay. So, they decided that, this is a criminal act. So it's called criminal mischief. And they're proceeding summarily. Their first decision made by the crown prosecutor, we have a king here, so it's called the crown prosecutor. So they decided to go ahead with the charge. Now, the crown prosecutor is not going to drop the charge, which they could have. So that's one. So they're into prosecuting me. Okay, fine. So secondly, they're proceeding summarily, which means they're not going to ask for prison time, which is unlikely, but it means that I can't get a jury. Like it's going to be up to a judge, and then they choose, the judge, that is going to hear the case. The prosecution does so by setting the date and the time, so they can choose the judge. So this is the problem. The second problem is that in order to get out of detention when I was first arrested, I had to sign a paper saying that I wouldn't return to the Jewish Community Center. And I didn't know if it meant, until the first hearing or, until the whole process is finished. So it seems that this is a condition that's being imposed, for until there's a judgment, like the whole process, a year and a half, 2 years or whatever. So I can't accept that, so I applied to have this condition removed. And the first day, on the first appearance, this lawyer that was supposed to help me didn't do anything at all. He said that he was going to speak to the prosecutor, which he didn't. So dumped that initial help, which wasn't a help, got a hold of the prosecutor myself, asked the prosecutor to drop that release condition, and the prosecutor has refused. So next step is that I've applied for a preliminary procedural hearing in order to hear my motion to lift the conditions prohibiting me from going back to the Jewish Community Center. So I've sent that, to the court itself, and not just to the prosecutor. So the court is supposed to take it up, set a date for a hearing, and they haven't done so. So they don't even follow their own regulations, their own procedures, because they don't want to let me, go back to the Jewish Community Center. That's the whole point. They don't want me to be part of the Jewish community, even though I'm Jewish. They want to define, like a Jewish person can only be a Zionist now, so it's no longer a Jewish community, it's a Zionist community, according to the prosecutor and according to the complainant and according to who knows what. So, that's what's happened this week. And the consequences is this, okay. So I'm enrolled, to go to the annual General Assembly of the Holocaust Museum, which I've been to before, and I've been to various meetings of the Holocaust survivors there at the Jewish Community Center as well, to which I was invited by a Holocaust survivor from Hungary, actually. And so if I go back to the Jewish Community Center, Steve, they could arrest me, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back, see if they have the guts, to arrest a second-generation Holocaust survivor on the way to an annual general meeting assembly of the Holocaust Museum, in the Jewish Community Center. If they do
When is
that,
this supposed to be? What day is this? What day is this you're doing this?
September the 12th.
Okay, so we have some time. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got 3 weeks for the court to reply and say, oh yeah, okay, fine. You can have, a preliminary hearing and we can hear your motion, all legally set up, in legal format and everything, and then a judge can say whether or not I should be barred from the Jewish Community Center. Okay. I don't think any judge can reasonably ask me to, not go to the Jewish Community Center and to the Holocaust Museum when I'm a second-generation Holocaust survivor. If they do that, they bring themselves in the court into disrepute, discrediting the court itself. So I don't think they would. But in any case, I have to go back to the Jewish Community Center on the 12th and then, see what they will do. Like I'm challenging them to arrest me, in other words. And if they do arrest me, my next court hearing is October the 30th. So that would be about a month and a half in prison. And then I would have a chance at the next court hearing to actually have the motion to dismiss the condition heard by a judge, because I don't think the court's going to let me get a hearing to allow a judge to decide on the matter. So that's, like what I'm bound to do, by conviction and by logic, like I can't let them get away with anything like that. So the September the 12th is the deadline. And then I'll probably be in prison until October the 30th. So, in terms of Jewish tradition, like September the 12th, you know what that means, because September the 15th is Rosh Hashanah, New Year's, and you're supposed to be, like, it's supposed to be good times. And then, September the 25th is Yom Kippur, the day of fasting, when you're supposed to sort of, beg for your life for the coming year from the deity, supposedly, like, so, not many, like Jewish people still believe that, but, to be in prison on Yom Kippur, in fasting, well, in prison, like Jewish community will not stand for this, I want the Jewish community to revolt. I want the Jewish community to stand up and say to the Zionists, machers and leaders that are manipulating this host condition to, get lost and let, Dr. Abraham Weizfeld free. So this is, the way it's going to play out. I think that's what's going to be happening. I don't see, the court, letting me off on this. I'm going to be going in on September the 12th and then challenging them, to, back off and let a Jewish person, be Jewish and not a Zionist. That's about what it is all about. Yeah. Well, I've already won the initial case, the book, my book was banned, from the Jewish Public Library, by this librarian who made the complaint in the first place. And it turned out that the administration of the Jewish Public Library had not known what this librarian at the circulation desk, was doing. She just did it on her own, because she's a Zionist and she thinks that she's, obeying a higher authority, which is the Zionist lobby, the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs here in Canada. It's like AIPAC. So, if the higher ups, want to, let this, roll out as it's going to be rolling out, then fine, they're going to suffer the consequences. And then we're going to have an accounting afterwards. I can call a Jewish court, Kahila. I can call on the Canadian Jewish Congress to be convened, in plenary to discuss this matter as well. These are sort of legal avenues within the Jewish community that I can pursue as well, that I intend to. But they tried to shut down the Canadian Jewish Congress because it's democratic. Any Jewish person can come there, register and vote. Like it's totally open. So it's like direct democracy there. But they shut that down and they replaced it with the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs, because they cut off the money to the Canadian Jewish Congress and they gave it to the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. It's a total manipulation. It's like a dictatorship. And it's like this state of Israel, the Zionist state of Israel, operating here inside Montreal, within the Jewish community, as if, they're governing the Jewish community, as if they're the government of the Jewish community here in Montreal, even though we don't have a vote. This is the whole Zionist trip. That's what it's all about.
Well, who is going to go with you to the community center next month?
I'm not sure yet. There has to be some people who come there and put it on camera and record it. It has to go on a recording. Yeah.
Yeah, I would highly suggest it. I would suggest that you have to have people go with you.
Yeah, that's right. But the Palestinians are afraid to go there, because, if Palestinians, go to the Jewish Community Center, even on the sidewalk in front of the place, the police will find some way to arrest them. They're going to be like removed, as quickly as possible. That's, and then of course, there's an Israel flag flying in front of the place as well, together with the Quebec and Canadian flags. Well, like who decided to put that up there? Not me. It's all a dictatorial practice here that's being inflicted on me. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, what do you think is behind all this? Why were you banned from the center? That seems to be the main issue here.
Yeah. They're upset. Like I've been going to the center, like many times over the years. But this time, like I was just coming out of a Holocaust survivors meeting to which I was invited. A Holocaust survivor invited me to come to the meeting, and, they, of course, like I get to meet people there. They get to know me. They get to know that I'm, super Jewish, like, and all this, like I can speak Yiddish. So they can't deny that I'm Yiddish, that I'm Jewish, but they're trying to say that I'm not Jewish because I'm not a Zionist, so this contradiction becomes evident, it becomes apparent to everybody in there. So they want to stop me from coming back, because, I was actually invited into the survivors meeting. You have to be invited into it, because it's like not a public meeting. So, they have to stop me somehow. And they're using this as an excuse to do it. And they, they even tried to get rid of my book in the Jewish Public Library, but the book is there now. It was brought back because I, threatened to charge whoever was holding the book with theft, which is what it was. Like the book was taken from the library. If you steal a book from the library, without, signing it out, without the intention of bringing it back, they charge you with theft. Well, in this case, the police were holding the book. So the police were guilty of theft, so they had to bring it back to the library. It's now listed in the catalog there. So that's that, for the book. And so that case is won. I hope to win the rest of the case issues as well. And if not, then I'll stick it out in prison. I've done prison before. I've even done a hunger strike in prison before, when I was in prison in Ottawa against the U.S. cruise missile being tested in Canada.
Let me ask you this: How would the prison sentence affect your status in Canada?
Nothing, no effect whatsoever. I already have a prison record. The only effect.
I mean, okay, your status in Canada, could it be revoked and you be deported because of that?
No, I'm a citizen. I was born in Toronto. I was conceived in a refugee camp in American Germany, after the war, at the Weizfeld refugee camp. But I was born in Toronto, so I'm kosher there. But my prison record has kept me out of the United States. I'm banned from the U.S. of A. I can't get in there. Even if I go and try to get in there, if I step on American territory, they can put me in prison for 30 days because, that's the law. So that's the only effect. Now, the effect that it may have on me getting back into Palestine, Israel, that's another question. Yes, I have to defeat this, in order to not enable them, to be able to
Well,
deny me entry there. Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Right now, can you be denied entry into Palestine?
No, no, no. They
Okay.
can't deny me entry. But the last time they only gave me a visa for a month. Usually they give a tourist a visa for 3 months. Last time they only gave me a visa for 1 month.
Well, let me ask you this then: to weighing the long-term situation, is it beneficial to lose access to Palestine over access to the Jewish Community Center? I think that's something that you have to consider
I've
because
considered
if
it. I have a
okay, okay,
I got a strategy, Steve. Got it.
okay,
Because, I can always apply for Israeli citizenship, and then they can't
what?
stop me from coming in. And they
But
can't stop me from staying there more than 3 months.
okay, do they have to grant you this? Do they have to grant you citizenship?
Uh, yes, except for, you see, the right of return for Jewish people to, the state of Israel is
Right,
basic law there. Like every Jew,
right.
like supposedly, can
I know.
apply for and get citizenship. Okay. No
Okay,
Palestinians, like, okay. But, you know, but there's a little sort of, clause in that paragraph which says, unless the person is a threat to the security of the state of Israel. Now,
okay.
if they want to
Have
declare
you?
me, a threat to the
Right,
security of the state of Israel, well, like I'll honorably, wear that title, but, they can't prove it. I'll take them to court. So, like it's turning into what's called a big Megillah, a big deal.
okay. Well, how soon can you begin that process?
Uh, as soon as I,
Reason I'm saying that because if the court proceeding could prevent that from going forward, but
yeah,
you start before the court proceeding, then maybe you have one leg up on them. Also, my question is, can you get a continuance on September 12th? Can you get it delayed?
no, because it's the annual General Assembly of the
No, no,
Holocaust
no,
Museum.
no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Can you get the court hearing delayed?
I'm trying to get a court hearing before the 12th so that I can get the condition struck down.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, which I doubt they're
Okay.
going to give me, because, courts, they take like a month to decide anything. Like every little step takes a month and maybe more. So, like they're incompetent. And also they don't have enough staff, not enough judges, because they don't have enough funding. Court system, healthcare system, everything is underfunded, and housing, everything. So, okay, let them shaft themselves. They're putting themselves into an impossible situation. So it's not me that they're attacking. They're going to end up, like undermining themselves, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if like I'm in prison and I go to court, the 30th of October, as has been set up already. There, like the judge can hear the motion to lift the condition, so I don't have to go back to prison. Okay, now, if the judge doesn't lift the condition and I do go back to prison, what do I do then? Right? The only alternative at
Yeah.
that point, the Palestinians are on a hunger strike now. There's 5,000 Palestinian prisoners. About 1,000 of them are there, without even any charge, called administrative detention under the British colonial rule law, same law. Okay. So they're going on a hunger strike, to protest their detention and the conditions of their detention. So, like after the 30th, if I'm still in prison, then I would simply join their hunger strike. And then, like, yeah, I challenge them to lift the condition, or the hunger strike continues. That's the way that,
Have you have you written this anywhere? And have you written about this anywhere? Has it been shared in any publications?
not all of it, no.
Okay.
You
Are
know,
there, are there any journals, websites, are there any venues where you can write what's occurring to spread the word?
Yes, I've the motions, the notice of motions that I've written up to cancel the condition of release so that I can go back to the Jewish Community Center, together with 2 other motions. I've sent out, to everything that I have, all the email addresses, all the Facebook groups that I have access to, and all the media that I have access to. And you know what? I got no reply from any media, none. There's this publication in Canada called the Canadian Jewish News, and they're supposed to be covering Jewish news. But
what about RT?
On their website,
okay.
But on their website, they even call themselves Zionist publication. So
well, okay.
they shouldn't be calling themselves Canadian Jewish News. They should be calling themselves the Canadian Zionist News. But they have not called that. No.
What about Al Jazeera? What about Al Jazeera? Al Jazeera.
Press TV, RT, yeah.
Press TV, yeah.
I sent them all the emails. They all ignore me.
But don't you and I have a Press TV correspondent as a common friend?
Yeah,
I think we do.
Yeah. And he's contacted them.
Good. Okay. Good. All right. Very good. Yeah.
He has.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Tried. Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, I just want to make sure you get some press coverage here. Yeah. This is very important. What else?
If they don't, if the press doesn't come through, even the third world press doesn't come through, progressives and all that, they don't come through. Then, I continue. I just continue.
Right. Yeah.
And then, eventually they get exposed as not willing to cover, like a
right. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what they need to be exposed as, because right now, my main concern strategically is the coverage of the story, because I think that could positively impact the outcome, and because it seems to me that there's a number of angles that could be used to expose and inform and mobilize people for your defense, including letters to the judge, coming to the hearing with you, contacting the Canadian government in particular, and also the Jewish Community Center to demand that they stop the banning of you from the meeting.
Yeah,
it seems to me if they simply say this is okay, we will drop this banning of Dr. Weizfeld, then the whole thing goes away.
Yeah, that's right.
That seems to be the main thing that I hear is if the community center is saying that you must be banned or you are banned, then the community center can say you're not banned.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a court issue. The court issue comes into impact because of the community center.
Yeah.
So to me, if we even have 500 phone calls or 50 phone calls next week to the community center from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 phone calls an hour for 5 days, and letters and emails to their websites demanding this, then I think we're mobilizing supporters to do what they could do from the comfort of their homes, their apartments, or even their cell phones.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing a way we can mobilize people to the community center to simply remove the ban. That's all they have to do, and then the whole thing goes away.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, because since they are the source from which the criminal justice system is attacking you.
Yeah,
that's my view. Anyway, I'm wrong.
Yeah. The higher ups, will. It's not going to be the librarian who decides, to call the police on me on the September the 12th. It's going to be, somebody responsible at the Holocaust Museum, or maybe a security guard at the front desk. But
well, I think we have to. I think we need to lay out if my suggestion is a good strategy. If not, what is another strategy, and get people mobilized during the next 3 weeks. because we have time to get people mobilized. And
Yeah.
right now, we're not mobilizing anybody.
Well,
So we need to mobilize. I mean, in the sense of between you and me and the people who listen to this program, people who were listening last week, we need to get them
yeah.
mobilized to support you.
Yeah.
If they're mobilized to support you, then we can have an impact, even though we're not in Canada with you.
Yeah. Well, my friend, who's a survivor from Hungary, he spoke to the higher ups there and told them, ask them, why this is happening. And they gave him all sorts of excuses, which he repeated to me. So it's sort of, indicates that the higher ups are going to let this, happen. They're going to let me get arrested,
Well,
detained, because
but that can change. That could change.
yes,
Even though your friend's conversation wasn't successful,
yeah,
if we continue to mobilize people and to demand this happen, if we don't demand it, it won't change. If we do demand it, it could change.
yeah,
So that's an idea I have, is to
yeah,
start a campaign in your behalf on that center, and to tell them that we want these charges dropped. We want this ban dropped. With the
yeah,
ban drop, there's no need for any kind of. With the ban drop, that gives less rationale for the court to even mess with you. The
yeah,
ban is dropped. The ban is dropped. Why am I in front of you,
yeah.
Judge?
Well, we have
Anyway,
something of an association here, like we're called the Alliance of Concerned Jewish Canadians, and the members, they could intervene here, yeah,
well,
like
I think they must intervene. If
yeah,
they don't intervene, the chance of succeed. To me, I have a different perspective. I don't want you going to prison. I don't want you inside the prison system, because anything can happen to you there. You're
well,
outside the prison system, but no,
yeah,
anything can happen to you in prison once you're in there.
yes, because they
I
can
mean,
set you up, like it just pay
right,
somebody, to rough you up,
or
that sort of thing. Yeah,
or just your. But let's say that, I mean, there are many things that they can have somebody assault you, they can have somebody murder you. That your health could take a turn for the worse just being inside. Your health could take a turn for the worse. So I'm always the person to avoid people going to jail and prison.
yeah,
I avoid that at all costs, because once you're in there, you have no control. Outside, you have much more control.
yeah.
So that's kind of how I see. For example, there was some demonstrations this week against some racists who are now anti-homosexual activists, who are claiming that kids are being groomed in school by teachers, and this is a real
Oh,
sick
yeah,
movement. It's a very sick movement,
yeah.
and so people had a demonstration against them in LA, and then the cops beat them up.
Oh,
Now, I'm of the view, if I know the cops are here to beat me up, I'm not going to do nothing, let the cops beat me up. I will retreat tactically, let the cops have the street. Why? I don't want to be beat up.
yeah,
I'm not going to have no, I'm not going down. I'm going to have a conversation with the cops. Why? Why? I'm going to lose.
mhm.
So I'm just saying the situation with, and now people have their criminal charges, they have to go to court. I'm not saying they did anything wrong demonstrating. No, no. But if you see the cops are going to attack you, just retreat.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying your situation, if we can keep you out of prison, to me, that's what we want to do. That's just my view. Is your individual situation, and I know you have to take a political stance. I want to do what I can to keep you from going to jail. That's just me.
yeah,
The jail is just not a fun place. I'm sorry.
yeah. Like
No, no,
I'm just not going to let this happen. But
no. I'm not saying you should.
no, yeah.
No, I'm not. No,
But
no. But I'm gonna say,
and I
can
am
we get
doing,
this
what I
something?
can, legally, like I've made all the submissions
Yeah,
and everything like that.
you sure
It
have.
sure
You
be
sure have. You
it could
sure
correct
have.
this,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I've been in prison before. I've been in prison for the cruise missile. I've been in prison for trafficking, in order to survive, here at our cultural center, even though it's legal now here in Canada, like I did 3 months there, for that. And, I've been in prison in Toronto too. I've been in prison in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, and, and, I keep in shape, so anybody wants to try to pick on me, like they're going to get hurt. I've got that taken into consideration there. We've only got a couple of minutes here, but tell me, what you've been up to and, what's happening, what's, like the thing with you.
Well, we know as far as the Nigeria situation, the French, some envoys have been asked to leave, and the anti-Francophone movement is continuing. So far, there's been no invasion yet, so that's a good thing in my opinion. And I just want to say the issue of the new government there really has to be determined by the masses of the Nigerians.
Yeah.
Right now, they're mobilized to join the army, but are they mobilizing their political and economic orientation to demand that the government take certain stances to serve their interests? I'm not coming out against the government. I'm just saying, for this to work in the interest of the Nigerians, even under a capitalist framework, Nigerian masses have to be heard. I'm not saying they're not being heard, but I want to just caution people that the ouster of the French is historically a good thing, but if the Americans take their place, it's not going to be any better.
Yeah.
No, it won't be. I mean, but that's up to the Nigerians to figure out, not me.
Well, I read this morning that 70,000 Nigerians have volunteered, for military defense of the country. They're on maximum military alert now, so they're expecting an attack or something. And they've expelled, the French ambassador, is gone.
We should have been gone a long time ago. The French are like the Belgians. They're the most brutal. The Belgians and the Germans and the French, they have the most brutal type of rule. Really sick. I'm not saying the English were better. No, I'm not saying the English were better. But the Belgians and the French have this really kind of sordid, despicable history.
Yeah.
And with the Francophone money situation and all the stuff that's going on with post-colonial France and French colonies in Africa, the BRICS summit does something for them. No, the BRICS summit the BRICS summit has to do something for the forcibly underdeveloped world, and these countries are forcibly underdeveloped. They were intentionally not developed by France.
Yeah,
it's really bad. It's not good. It's kind of like the reservations in many ways.
Yeah.
In the United States. So Native people turn to gambling to make money from non-natives to provide jobs for Native people. That's what they, quote, had to turn to, because the way the whole question was settled in the United States, well, here's some land, good luck, and get the blank out, that kind of thing. So if the BRICS summit is really going to be about something, it can't be. I'm not knocking per se BRICS. I'm not. But what will be the benefit for the working class and the poor and the farmers and those living in the desert? What can we do to demobilize the Islamists who are just, that's just some nonsense there that they're throwing down. Young men and women with the gun. That's all that is. Come on. They're in poverty. They choose a way out because of how they interpret the Quran. So I'm just hoping that the BRICS movement will have some real impact positively for the working class and the poor. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Loans to countries are not going to help them. I don't care from the BRICS Bank or the World Bank. A loan, you have to pay the loan back.
Yeah.
So, the whole world has to look at forcible underdevelopment. That's what's happening in many communities, or forcible ignorance. From poverty can come. I don't mean stupidity. I mean lack of development of mental faculties to critically think and come to solutions. That's what I mean by ignorance.
Yeah.
Okay. The drugs, the trafficking, all that stuff comes from forcible underdevelopment. It's really sad.
Yeah.
So so let's just hope that something good could come out of the BRICS summit. I'm just going to wait and see. I'm just going to, but creating a new bank to challenge the World Bank in of itself is simply setting up a dual power pillar. And the thing about it is, Abraham, the black people in Brazil, the Native people in Brazil, the black people in the United States and Canada and Germany and France, we cannot go to the BRICS summit because we are French and American and Brazilians. That's something that needs to change. If the Native people of the U.S. want to go, they have to be accepted as genuine nations of people. Yeah. Right now, our citizenship. Well, at least I think the Native people can pull it off. Because they have identity cards that make them demonstrate they're members of another nation. Blacks, the natives in Brazil, in France, Germany, UK, we can't do anything because we're citizens of these countries.
Yeah,
and that really messes up our political our political clout internationally is damaged because of that.
Yeah,
I thought about that recently. Like, just it's something that we have to address because we can't go to no conferences. We're America. Americans not allowed. What the fuck,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see that. I understand. Yeah, there should be an international with a Black nation representation as well. The other national minorities, in the world. There's 3,000 nations in the world and 193 nation states. So
I mean, the folks from the Amazon. Yeah. The folks from the Amazon should have some status. Yes, they should. Go on.
Yeah.
Just and because they're Brazilians, they don't have any status. I'm not saying status to sit in bodies to have their people's needs addressed and resolutions and solutions proposed on the international scale.
Yeah.
It's just a problem. It's a problem. I just want to share to people who are listening that these oppressed communities cannot go to international bodies because they're citizens of another country. So a Black American group could not go to the Africa Forum in Russia. We're African American, but we could not go to talk about needs of African Americans because we're not a nation. We're not an African. We're not an African nation.
The African Union. The African Union should have representation from the Black nation of the USA.
They sure should. They sure should. And for Blacks in Brazil, Blacks in France, Blacks in Germany, Blacks in Brazil, because we were brought from Africa through the slave trade, and we have no nation. We say we can't go home to no nation. We cannot. There's no nation. The people from Poland go back to Poland. I mean, they have a Polish connection. Yeah. These nations, France, France from Francophone Africa, England from West Africa, probably Black Americans. We have no right of return anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying these organizations like BRICS, these conferences, Black people of color who have a history of being a victim of slavery or theft of land and genocide have no status in that. If that could change, people like me, you, others could go to these fora and start making our demands known. But right now we're locked out because of our citizenship, at least me. That kind of thing. I mean, it's just something I just want to share. It's just something I want people to think about. That's all.
Right on. Okay, that's probably the end of our minutes, for this week. So
okay, brother. Thank you.
Okay, until next week then, Steve. Great.
Until next week. Talk to you. Thank you.